Has it started recording? I don't see anything.
This is recording.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So hi everyone, welcome to today's seminar on navigating the college admissions process as an FGLI student. And we're basically going to be talking about the QuestBridge process, about Rice and applying to Rice, as well as going through your Rice journey as an undergrad and how being an FGLI student sort of factors into that, and all the resources that Rice has available for student population. Okay, so first I'll introduce myself. My name is Andrea Augustin. I am a rising senior. I'm majoring in neuroscience and minoring in biochemistry and cell biology, and I'm on the pre-med/public health track, and is matched to Rice through the QuestBridge National College Program.
Okay, my name is Vy. I'm a pre-dental student at Rice University. My major is psychology and managerial studies. I'm also a QuestBridge scholar and a rising senior, but I was not matched specifically to Rice.
Cool. So the first part of our seminar will be talking specifically about QuestBridge and two of its main programs, the first of which is the College Prep Scholars Program, and the second of which is the National College Match Program. What I'm basically going to be doing is I'm going to take you through the QuestBridge website because there's a lot of information and there's just too much information for the slides specifically. So yeah, okay, so the QuestBridge website is literally just questbridge.org. I would highly recommend that you all visit this website because it has so much information and basically like everything that you would need to know for the application process is on this website. So the first program of QuestBridge that I'll be talking about is the College Prep Scholars. And this is a program for high school juniors to figure out what QuestBridge is about and all of the other programs of QuestBridge. So it's an introductory program. It's no way a requirement to apply for the National College Match Program, but it does have a lot of perks that get if you're a college prep scholar. So there are a bunch of perks that are listed here. You can be entered to win a full scholarship to various college summer programs. You can apply for the Quest for Excellence Awards. There are a bunch of them. There's a STEM specific one, there's a humanities specific one. And it basically, like one of my friends she basically got money to buy a laptop for college. And then there might also be other perks with the Quest for Excellence Award, such as paid campus visits, as well as not having to pay like test score fees. A really big part of the College Prep Scholars Program is actually an invitation to a QuestBridge National College Admissions Conference. And each summer they have this conference in at least 3 or 4 locations. I think the year that I attended the conference, it was in 3 different locations, and they try to spread it out across the United States. And you attend the one that's like closest to you. The one that I attended was at Yale, and so I had like family members in New York. So we drove to New York, and then we stayed in New York, and then our family member drove us to Connecticut to Yale, and then we went back to New York and then Georgia. So basically the conference is a way for you to learn more about QuestBridge. They have various workshops as well to help the National College Match application. They also have like a college fair with all of the partners for QuestBridge. And it's also a really great way to meet other people who are also part of the College Prep Scholars community and, are going to maybe be your future, roommate, college mate, whatever, at the school that you end up going to if it's a QuestBridge school. I believe they also give you like a travel voucher to spend to your expenses towards getting to the National College Admissions Conference. And then a really big thing is that your essay and your secondary essays for the College Prep Scholars application will automatically get transferred to your National College Match application. So basically, like, it's really nice because they actually give you feedback on your essay. So that's really nice. And then there are a bunch of other things that they mention here that you guys can check out when you're on this website. Okay, yeah, so who should apply? As I said before, high school juniors. I don't think citizenship is a requirement. And then there are various like financial qualifications that are all detailed under the eligibility page. And then how to apply. So the 2020 College Prep Scholars Program deadline was in April, so it's finished, but for next year, it'll probably be late April again. And then basically it's just an application form with an essay, short answer questions, information on, all the things that you do, along with a letter of recommendation from one of your teachers, along with transcripts, standardized test scores, a school profile, etc. And I'm sure there are also like financial documents that you'll have to turn in to make sure that you qualify as well. And then they also have a lot of application resources here. So QuestBridge themselves do different like webinars like this that are more specifically catered to how to make your application, stand out, be the best one. So I would also recommend that you guys go through these QuestBridge specific resources as well. Okay, cool. So now we'll talk about the National College Match Program, which is what most people know QuestBridge for. It's basically a chance to get a full ride scholarship to one of QuestBridge's partner colleges. And they have like 30 or 40 partner colleges, correct me if you know.
Yeah,
But basically,
right.
yeah, so basically like all the lists of college partners can be found on the website under this tab. And you can also go on each college's like page or profile to learn more about it. For example, if we go to Rice University, there's like a school profile. You can read an overview. There are application requirements for Rice specifically that you have to do, as well as more information on financial aid, various academic stuff, as well as information about our scholars network at Rice. And there's a similar profile for every single partner college of QuestBridge. Going back to the National College Match process, I think that V is going to talk about the specifics of the application later, but in the very like bare bones description of it, it's basically a full 4-year scholarship, as I say, worth over $200,000 to one of QuestBridge's college partners. And this scholarship covers tuition and fees, room and board, book and supplies, travel expenses. I know Rice gives us a stipend every semester. It's around $2,000 or so that we can put towards basically whatever we want. So I put it towards my flight expenses going from Georgia to Houston. I put it towards textbook fees and whatnot, as well as any extracurricular fees that I would have to pay. Yeah, so things like that. And then all match scholarship packages, have no parental contribution, no student loans, and they may contain a student contribution in the form of federal work study, summer work, or student savings. Who should apply? So the National College Match Program is for rising seniors. The application process starts in the summer of when you want to apply. And so it's way before like the regular decision program. And yeah, so it's open to all US citizens as well as permanent residents, as well as non-citizens. So I am not a US citizen. I'm on a visa, and I was able to apply to this program as well, which is really nice. And then, the other sections of this page go towards like describing academic achievement of typical college applicants, as well as various financial qualification details. So I would really encourage you guys to go through that as well. Okay, and then how to apply, similar to the college prep scholars application process. It's just another personal essay plus secondary essay plus short answer questions. The personal statement's pretty self-explanatory. Basically like why QuestBridge, why you, and then I'm not really sure what the two essays were on. I think one was like describe your proudest achievement when I was applying, but I'm not really sure if they've changed it, but it's probably something along those lines. And then the short answer questions were like, I guess, fun questions. It was like, if you want to have dinner with anyone in history, who would you want to have dinner with and why? Things like that. And then they also require letters of recommendations from your teachers, a school report from your high school counselor, as well as a school profile. Both, like a school profile, you can ask your high school counselor. Again, they probably know what that's about, as well as your transcript and any standardized test scores. I am not actually sure what the policy for standardized test scores for this coming year would be, but I would, because of the coronavirus situation, but I would encourage you guys to email them and ask, because I didn't find anything on the website specifically. Did you find anything, V?
Specifically for Rice, it's like optional to send in your SAT or ACT, but for QuestBridge, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so so I would encourage you guys to ask your own question through Ask QB, which is our online help portal. Okay, and then they have this super useful diagram basically describing the entire application process. So as I said before, the QuestBridge application process starts earlier than like the Common App / Coalition regular decision stuff. So it starts in your late summer. You submit the primary application sometime by late September. And then you have till early October to rank up to 12 college partners. And it's basically like literally just a list with 12 spots, and you put which college you would be, you most want to go to want to go to, if that makes sense. And this list is important because they match you to the highest college that also matches with you. Yeah. And then by late October, you're notified if you're a QuestBridge finalist, and then finalists have to submit all of the match requirements by November 1st. So those match requirements are, some colleges require you to fill out their own essay questions. For example, ICE required us to fill out their secondary essay questions. So that's by November 1st. And then match day is December 1st. So that's the day where you find out whether you've been matched to any of those partner colleges through QuestBridge. But if you don't match, that's totally fine. That's okay. And we can talk more about that process. But basically, I believe you have to do QuestBridge regular decision form if you want to. And then you submit the Common App Coalition apps as well. But V, if you want to talk more about that right now.
Yeah, so I wasn't specifically matched to Rice, but I think they just forwarded my QuestBridge application to Rice and they reviewed it from there and they sent me my acceptance like maybe in December-ish. So it wasn't, I don't think it was like regular decision. It was still kind of early or in the middle of some sort. But yeah, that's how that works.
Did you still fill out like regular decision / Common App stuff for other colleges, or did you just accept the Rice decision?
I just accepted the Rice decision.
Yeah, so that I'm assuming was early decision for Rice.
Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, so that I think is one thing that you guys can do if you're really confident that there's one college that you really want to attend. You can do early decision after QuestBridge matching, but that is binding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't want to be bound to one school, then you can do regular decision and apply to any number of colleges that you want.
Yeah, I remember the Rice early decision. Like once it was bound, I had to like delete all my apps for like Yale or like anything else.
Yep. Yeah. So then for regular decision specifically, you can submit QuestBridge regular decision form, which I think is just a form that says, do you want your QuestBridge application to be forwarded to all of the other, college partners? And then you finalize your college decisions that semester. Okay, so let me go back. Yeah, so that's all we had for QuestBridge specifically. This is just a picture of all of the different college partners of QuestBridge. There's a really, really great variety of college partners, all the way from really big, like private research universities to small liberal arts colleges. So I would really recommend that you guys look through each of the college partners, because you never know which ones you might really connect with. And then if you also have the opportunity to really like visit them, I'm not sure how feasible to be given the current situation, but I'm sure all of these call like virtual campus visits as well as like virtual college admissions sessions. So I would encourage you to first go through the QuestBridge website, go through each of the profiles for the college partners, and make a list of whichever ones stand out to you. Because the research that you do right now before the application process will really help you when, for example, you're filling out the your ranking for college match. Yeah, so now I am going to stop sharing and I'm gonna hand it over to V to go over the next part of the presentation.
Share my screen. Okay, can you guys see it?
Yep.
Sorry, it's taking a little while. Okay, so I'm going to talk more about Rice specifically. So Rice is located in Midtown Houston, and around us there's the Met Center, there's the Museum District, and of course there's a lot of good food. And because it's near the Met Center, there's a lot of opportunities for research, which Andrea can talk more about. And what drew me to Rice specifically was our residential college system, which is really unique. So essentially, we have 11 residential colleges, and when you get into Rice, you're sorted into one of the 11 colleges. And these colleges have unique cultures and traditions. But a tradition that is overarching is beer bike. A lot of students look forward to this. This is in the second semester, and it's basically a race between the 11 residential colleges, and it instills a lot of like school spirit. People also really like a week, which is our orientation week. There's a lot of information about the school, and it's jam-packed with fun events. And as for our academics, we have a lot of diverse disciplines, including humanities, music, engineering, architecture, natural sciences, and the social sciences. And as I mentioned earlier, for this cycle, the SAT and ACT are optional, and like once you are applying, you will get offered an interview, which is not too official. Like mine was a pretty relaxing interview. We just had a conversation. These QuestBridge requirements Andrea went over previously, so it opens in late summer, it's due in late September, and the matches are in December. And I think this is back to Andrea. Was my speaker working?
Now it is, yes. It was working
Okay,
during.
sorry. There was like
It
a
was a
warning
little
on the
spotty, but
screen.
it's okay. Thank you guys for, giving us a lot of information about the QuestBridge program and about Rice also. What I want to do now is just take some time to ask you guys a couple of questions, and we'll let you guys go. If we could, can we stop sharing screen just so we can all, there we go. So, like I said, thank you guys for that. So our first question, and some of these you guys might have mentioned briefly during the presentation, but I'll ask them again just so we can kind of highlight this information. So how did both of you hear about QuestBridge?
So I think I was like a freshman in high school when I heard about QuestBridge just casually from like I think like a church friend, and then I kind of just forgot about it until like late sophomore year when I got an email from QuestBridge saying that one of my teachers or my counselor had referred me to it, and so because of like the reference email, it like pretty like timely, so I could apply for the College Prep Scholars program. And then, my transition from College Prep Scholar to College Match was pretty linear. It was pretty smooth.
Yeah, so for me, it was also a friend that told me about the program. So then I just went ahead and applied to Rice through there since it seemed like a more feasible option for me.
Okay. So how did you guys, how did either of you decide that this was a great opportunity and that, what made you brave enough to take it, I guess? Like, because, a lot of our students, they might hear about it. They might even hear that they've been nominated, but they might not take the opportunity because they don't fully understand it or they're a little bit afraid or timid. So what made you decide that this was something that you wanted to be a part of?
I think for me, just the possibility of not having to pay anything for college, especially when you look at the tuition pages for like private universities, it's kind of crazy. And like every time I look at my financial aid package every semester, I'm like, what the heck? I didn't have QuestBridge, I would have to pay $35,000 every semester. Like, that's crazy. And like, I don't even think I would be at Rice were it not for QuestBridge. So I mean, honestly, it's like mind blowing. And like, that has to be like the primary reason why I applied to QuestBridge. Secondary reason being like, there are so many partners for QuestBridge. Like, it's like crazy. Like, they're all, the top Ivies or whatever, and they're also like a lot like liberal colleges, which are more smaller in scale. Not a lot of people know about it, but I mean, they're great institutions. So I think just seeing reputation that QuestBridge has in order to be able to partner with all of these amazing institutions was also another factor that helped in my decision to apply.
Yeah, it was kind of the same for me because I'm from Houston and my family wanted me to stay in Texas at least. So I applied to all the Texas schools, but without QuestBridge, even going to like UT or UH with their scholarship, it would cost more for me to go there than to go to Rice through QuestBridge.
And thank you for answering that, V. That kind of brought me to my next question. Where are you guys from and kind of what made you choose Rice as opposed to some of the other schools that QuestBridge is partnered with? So V, we've heard your answer. Andrea, what about you? I know you said you're from Georgia, but why Rice? Why Texas?
So as I said before, I'm from Georgia, and I actually hadn't heard of Rice until my QuestBridge application. And I mean, literally my thinking about applying to Rice through like my the QuestBridge application was when I was ranking, I had a choice to either put Rice or to put Emory. And I was like, I don't want to go to college 45 minutes away from, you know, where I live currently. And so that's why I put Rice. I highly recommend that you guys put a little more research into your ranking choices. I'm at Rice, and now that like I've basically finished my journey at Rice, I'm really grateful and like I'm really happy about my decision. But I'm sure, you know, research is always recommended, or it might, you know, you might have a lucky mistake, not a mistake, but just be lucky like me and go to a place that you hadn't done much research about, but you love it anyways. But yeah.
Yeah, I could add more on to that because I had a friend from high school that also went to Rice, and he was telling me about all the resources that were at Rice for like low-income students and how everyone really cares about other students and how there's a culture of care. So I really wanted to attend a university that was like cognizant of all of those issues and had resources and other people there to support them.
Yeah. Also, if we do have time, we had like one more about like Rice specifically and the resources at Rice for FGLI students. So if you're interested in us speaking more about that, we can. Yeah, if we have time.
No, please go ahead. Since we're on the topic of resources, go ahead. Please share your
Okay.
screen and we can talk about that.
Cool. Okay, so a little bit more about Rice. I think when V was talking, they mentioned research. So the Texas Medical Center is literally like 5 blocks from Rice. And the Texas Medical Center includes like all of these great institutions like Baylor College of Medicine, Houston Methodist, all these different, there's like a neuroengineering initiative. I mean, there are just so many sources of knowledge and of research that a lot of Rice students, a majority of Rice students, I feel like take advantage of them. And there are a lot of programs at Rice specifically geared towards helping students interact with these different institutions. And so I think that's definitely something that's a real pulling point for applicants towards Rice. And that's something that a lot of people really appreciate about Rice as well. In terms of the extracurriculars and stuff, you can also, you know, chime in with things that you do, but there's so many clubs. Literally anything that you're interested in, you'll find a club or an extracurricular activity that you can participate in at Rice. And there are a lot of resources institution-wise that help you help you get involved as well. So they really try to not let finances be a hindrance in participating and getting involved. And so, for example, I was the president of the Rice Neuroscience Society for the past 2 years, and I absolutely loved my experience. I was able to reach out to high school students actually through 2 different programs that I established through the Rice Neuroscience Society. And I really loved it because it was a way for me to connect my passion for STEM and for neuroscience with actual interactions with people and community outreach. Vy, do you want to talk about your involvements?
Yeah, so we have a lot of clubs ranging from sports to cultural clubs and some artistic clubs and also community outreach and volunteering. So some of the things I am involved in, I'm president of the Predental Society here at Rice, and this helps me connect with other predental students from like UH or other universities because there's a lot of pre-meds at Rice, but there's not a lot of predental students. So that's a way that we could all pool our resources and get together and go through our journey as a predental student. I'm also involved in the Vietnamese Student Association, and at Rice, or in Houston, there's a lot of Vietnamese students, but at Rice there are less. But through this club, we can really like tie back to our cultural roots. We have a lot of cultural events and a lot of like food outings, so we could all hang out and eat together. And as for art clubs, I also run a fashion club at Rice University. And since it is like a very intense school where like academics are prized by everyone, it really like is hard to find time to relax and do things you like or like find something creative to do. So that is what my club is for, to just promote creativity among the student body when like everyone's stressed out.
Yeah. And then I also wanted to talk a little bit about so you know, applied to QuestBridge, you applied to Rice, you got into Rice, what now, right? And so I think a big thing that people think about is finances, obviously. And so QuestBridge is a great resource. They, as I mentioned before, they give us a stipend that you can basically put towards anything every semester. And then also they call it the Rice investment. So even if you're not QuestBridge matched or a QuestBridge scholar, they still can give you a really great financial aid package depending on your family's income level. And so the Rice is something that a lot of students have, taken advantage of. And then there's also different, I guess, financial resources for other smaller things. So for example, each residential college has a fund basically for that students can apply to. I say apply, but it's very informal. It's literally just like a Google form, and it's like, what do you need money for? How much do you need? And then you submit it. And basically it's your college is having like an ice skating event, but you can't afford the Uber for it because it's super far away. Or if you want to get a t-shirt for an event that your college is doing, but you don't really have the resources right now, it's literally like so easy. You just submit it, it's fully anonymous, and then they give like an envelope that they put in your mailbox. So it's super great resource. And then they also what's called the Access and Opportunity Portal, which is for more general things. For example, if you are applying to graduate school, they let you apply for funding to get materials for your GRE or for your MCAT or for your LSAT. They also let you apply to the Access and Opportunity Portal if you need funding to go to a conference somewhere, or funding to print out your poster for your conference or anything like that. So there are a lot of financial resources that students can take advantage of even when they get to Rice. There's also a lot of academic resources as well, like all the professors have office hours. There are also classes with assistants that have office hours. And then each residential college also has their academic fellows who are geared towards helping students in various classes. Do you have anything to add to that, Vy?
We also have the Student Success Initiative, which really ties together like first generation and low income students. And we have lunches every 2 weeks. And this is really good for uplifting the community and just like providing resources to each other.
Yeah, and then along with that, one last resource that Rice students have, there's a lot of professional advising as well. So we have the Center for Career Development, the CCD, which has, you know, resume edits, which has company information sessions, or they have like professional outfits that you can, I think, check out, that you can use for when you're going to an interview. They have mock interviews that they do. So there's a lot of professional advice. And then there are various, there's the Office of Academic Advising, where you can go to talk about your 4-year plan, or you're thinking about switching majors, you know, things like that. And then one final thing is they have the Center for Civic Leadership, which is a great way to get involved in the Houston community. They have various programs that are geared towards, like, you know, you're a Rice freshman, here's some things that you can do to learn more about Rice and the various societal issues that we're facing, versus, okay, now you've learned all about that and now you're a junior/senior and now you can design your own program in order to reach out in a specific way that you want to. So I would really recommend that you guys, you know, go through Rice's website to learn more about it and learn more about the different programs that Rice has, because learn more about it, then you can also like flex knowledge in your application. And you know, admission process, I feel like admissions committees will be a lot more impressed when you know, can say that I have these interests and this is how I'm going to explore and learn more about those interests at Rice University. This is how Rice is going to help me. But yeah, so that's all I had for resources.
No, thank you guys for sharing. Having those resources, I can only imagine, makes navigating Rice a lot easier. You're absolutely right with doing the research, whether that be for the school you want to go to, you know, the career that you want to have, having that research and just having that knowledge in your back pocket so you can better maneuver the spaces you're trying to get into. Absolutely right. So our next question, and you guys can give a range if you don't remember or if you just don't want to share specifically, but what test scores kind of qualified you for QuestBridge? And I know it might not necessarily say on the website, but I guess using that information, what test scores do you think our students should aim for?
So for test scores, I looked up the averages for Rice specifically, but it'll probably vary according to each school. For the Rice's SAT score, it's from 1450 to 1560, and the average ACT score is 33 to 35, which seems really high, but you shouldn't really like focus too much on the statistics because it's just like the average. So like there are some that are lower, there are some that are higher. So that's just how it all balances out.
And I
And
think,
it's like,
go ahead.
it's like a holistic type of review of your application. So it's not all about your scores or your GPA.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. They do really look at, you know, not just your statistics, but also like the classes that you've taken, also all the clubs that you've, you know, participated in throughout high school. And I would say, you know, it's more about quality than quantity. Like really, if you do have something that you're super passionate about and you spent, you know, all your time or most of your time into it, having just that one experience and being able to speak about that experience and how it's contributed to your growth is a whole lot more valuable than having an entire list of things that you've done and not being able to like express how you have benefited from those 15 different things that you might have done. So really, like, don't be intimidated because they allow you to like list 15 different things that you've done, but like don't feel pressure to fill out every single thing, because they do really look at, you know, if what you've done has really contributed to who you are, as well as contributed to who you can be at Rice or any other college that you apply to.
Perfectly put. Y'all said it perfectly. Those scores are their average, so might be students that have a little bit lower scores, have higher scores, but I think you guys are absolutely right with having the other experiences. A lot of schools are going to be looking at the holistic review, especially with COVID, and not necessarily requiring those test scores. But having those experiences and being involved in different clubs, it's definitely quality over quantity. So, if you're involved in 20 different organizations and you only go to one meeting, that's definitely not as good as if you're only involved in 3 and, you're really involved, you're passionate about them, you're getting those different leadership experiences in that. That's really good. Thank you. So what are some benefits of being a QuestBridge Scholar? So I know you guys talked a little bit about maybe some of the financial benefits, but what are some of the other benefits on campus or in the program?
So other than the financial benefits, it's definitely the community that you get as a QuestBridge Scholar. Every QuestBridge partner should have a QuestBridge Scholar chapter. Rice does, and they're pretty active. And basically, they do like monthly events to get all the scholars at Rice together. I think they do like a bowling night, or just go out to eat together. QuestBridge also has like a National Service Month, and so at Rice do like a service project for that month. And so there are community outreach initiatives that you can be a part of as a QuestBridge as well. And it's definitely like, it's not mandatory at all. Like you can be as involved or not as involved as you want, but there's a really nice sense of security in the fact that that there are so many like people have gone through similar things that you have gone through and can relate and talk to you about that. So I think it's a really great community.
Yeah, the same thing about community, there's like a lot of mentoring going on. So when I first entered Rice, I was totally confused. I was like, what is all this paperwork? I don't know how to do this because I'm a first generation student. I can't just like ask my parent. I was like just furiously Googling everything. But thank God there's like a group chat of like low income students that I could go to. And I just like asked them a question. They explained everything to me and it was incredibly helpful. So I really wanted to be like a resource like that to other underclassmen, and that was really helpful to me. And also especially during COVID, like Rice just bombards you with emails and they're like, wait, what did they say about financial aid? So it was really nice to like have a conversation with other people, and like we could all just like email the person and like send the responses back.
Yeah, another thing that our QuestBridge chapter does is they have families. And so they're similar to like orientation week groups where each QuestBridge family has like 2 upper class matched 3 to 5 incoming freshmen who are QuestBridge scholars. So that I was a part of a family when I was a freshman, and it was really nice to have people that I can ask these questions to.
And I just want to stop for a second. And I know on your presentation, you guys put FGLI. So for our students who might not know what it is, they've mentioned it. FGLI is first generation low income. So it's an acronym that's used a lot in higher education and education overall. So just letting our students know what that means. Do you guys know any QuestBridge students at other universities? Do they like their universities? What was their process like, if you guys know?
Yeah, so because I went to like the college prep admissions conference, I was able to meet a lot of people who ended up matching at different universities throughout the US, as well as there's like a Facebook page. I'm sure there are multiple Facebook pages, but I'm part of like QuestBridge Facebook page for the class of 2021. And then there's also like a pre-med specific QuestBridge page. So there are like all these different Facebook pages as well that you can be a part of to ask more specific questions and be connected to QuestBridge scholars throughout the US.
Yeah, I remember being part of that Facebook page too. I don't really know where it went, or maybe I just don't see it as often, but I guess if you do go to the conferences, you'll get more of a connection with students from other schools.
Yeah, the level of activity in the Facebook page like ranges depending on what time it is. But yeah. I feel like from the people that I talk to who are at different universities and who are also QuestBridge scholars, it's a general like positive consensus. I mean, I haven't ever heard regretting their decision or transferring or anything. So it's generally a really positive thing to be a QuestBridge scholar in any regard.
Good. That's always good to hear. So just a couple more questions. So first, can you guys walk us through, I guess, the application process? What are some of the things you guys had to do as far as maybe activities, the interview process for QuestBridge, and then of course the interview process for Rice in particular?
So the application process for QuestBridge, specifically, your voice also cut off a little bit, so tell
Oh,
me if I'm
sorry.
veering off course. But the application process for QuestBridge is pretty straightforward. You're a rising senior, so the summer before you're a rising senior, you basically QuestBridge portal to the National College Match Program. It consists of a personal statement as well as two smaller essays plus really short, fun questions. And then you also need two recommendation letters from your core subject teachers. So I'm sure that's like science, math, language arts, things like that. And then you also need a school report that you can ask from your high school counselor, and then a school profile that you can also ask your high school counselor for. I would really recommend that you guys start early. Don't wait till the last minute, especially when you're asking for recommendation letters and stuff from your high school counselor. They have a lot of things. I mean, I guess it depends on also what high school you go to. But even if you're from a small high school, it's just, common courtesy to ask early. And then for your essays, I would recommend that you have a few people look over it. I would not recommend that you ask more than 5 people, maybe, because I mean, also like people have varying opinions, and once you get to a lot of people looking over essays, it's just never really a common thing. Or you can't. I would say the number for asking people to look over your essays is like, what would you say, V?
I would say like 3 to 4 maximum, because like if you like get too many people, they might have like contradicting opinions and that might just throw you off. But remember that you don't have to like take everyone's opinion into consideration, just like what you think is important and what can make your paper better personally.
And I would also say be strategic with the people you ask to look over your essay. I would recommend that you one who really knows you. So one person to be someone who really knows you and your story, to be the one looking over it, so they can tell you, are you being true to yourself? Are you showing yourself in the best way possible? Are you, all that? And then the second person, I would say someone who can tell you more about structural stuff. So for example, your language arts teacher maybe, or a college student that has already gone through the process, or someone who you just know is really good at English or essay writing, or something like that. And then third, I don't know, maybe third person is up to you. They can just look for, grammatical errors or like, simple things like that. But I would say, don't go overboard with the number of people that you ask to look at, because I've seen high school seniors have, as added me to their essay for me to look over. And then I also see that it's been shared with like 20 other people. And there's so many different comments, and I'm like, I don't think I can be helpful here.
Yeah.
But so that's essays. And then there's also various financial stuff that you'll have to put in for your application. I think it's mainly just tax returns. I'm not sure if there was anything more than tax returns. But Also, one thing that I wanted to add was if you are not a US citizen, there's a specific page on the QuestBridge website, has a list of schools that accept non-US citizens, and they've separated it into undocumented students and non-US and various other visa holders. So I would really recommend you look through that list, because if you rank a school that says that they're not going to accept undocumented students, for example, then QuestBridge is not going to send your application to that school. So basically, a lot that you put in that school would be wasted. So definitely like go, there's one thing that you guys can remember seminar is to go through the QuestBridge website. It has so much information.
Thank you. That's a very good point. College community career, we don't worry, or I guess we don't care, I guess, so to speak, of the citizenship status for our students. Of course, there are schools that don't necessarily feel the same way. So I think it's very, very big to mention that. So thank you. We can definitely tell our students to use that resource. That way, like you said, they don't waste that space on their application. So just 3 more questions, maybe 4. I guess, what is the...
I think you also said to mention the interview stuff as well.
You're right. That's where I was going to go to next. So some of our students, they don't, they might find Rice interesting or school that they want to apply to. But hearing about an interview, they get really timid and nervous and just kind of like, oh, I don't know if I should apply to Rice anymore. So how can we, I guess, encourage them to do that? What was your experience like?
So I never interviewed for Rice specifically because the college or the QuestBridge application is a lot, like you have to turn it in, the match application, a lot before Rice starts interviewing people. But for example, if you weren't matched and you decide to go through the early decision route or through the regular decision for Rice, then you'll have an interview. So we can talk more about like interviewing at Rice specifically, but from my experience interviewing with different colleges, I mean, it's so casual. Like there was never an interview where I had to like be full suit, you know, and I'm in front of like someone else who's also in a suit, you know. Usually I met people at coffee shops. I met people at this one physician that I had to meet at his practice. But even then it was super like casual. I was just sitting on a chair in his office, and we like started off talking about like why I liked that school and what made me think that I would be a good fit for that school. Most of the interview was literally just talking about my interests, and then he also really liked talking about current events. So I had to like read up a little bit before I went to that specific interview. But if they have like specific requests like that, they will probably let you know before. But I would say common mistakes that people make, they mischaracterize the school. So for example, you might be in an interview for one school, but you say the name of another school accidentally, you know, or you mix up like the characteristics. For example, the school that you're interviewing for is like known for research or you know, known for being really large, but you confuse that with another small liberal arts college or something. So I'd really encourage you to, again, like read up on the school beforehand. And like sometimes you say these slips because you're nervous and they understand that. So if you like do mix up names or something, don't think that's the end of application, because it's not, and they like as interviewers understand that. But in general, like my experience with interviews has been usual, like intimidating.
Yeah, so for the Rice interview, it was pretty casual, as Andrea said that it would be. So I just met up at Starbucks with the interview person, and we just talked about myself a little bit. I emphasized all of my or one of my activities in high school, and I also looked up some things about Rice University. So the thing that I brought up in the interview was the low student to faculty ratio, so that it was a lot easier for like a student to get help from a professor if needed. And we talked about that for a while. But yeah, other people I've talked to, they said that the Rice interview was very lax. Some people are just like, yeah, we talked about movies for 1 hour. I'm like, wow, fantastic.
Yeah, they also are super impressed if you can talk about specifics about that school, like we mentioned, like the low faculty to student ratio, or like if you can talk about a program about the university offers before you even get admitted to that university. Like that's all super to the admissions people.
I think that goes back to what you guys were saying, about doing your research. If you do that research beforehand, the interview might not seem as awkward, or you might not be as nervous. And then, of course, if you know yourself very well, what you're interested in, what you bring to the table, I imagine it also makes it a little bit easier.
Oh yeah, and afterward, I think the interviewer gave me her information card, so I also sent her a thank you email, and I think that's just a really nice thing to do after.
Absolutely. That can definitely set you apart, and I'm sure it did also. So just two more questions. Andrea, if you can tell us a little bit, I know you said you were in the college prep program before going into the college match and being a college match scholar. So can you tell us a little bit about that? What were some of the benefits of being in college prep that kind of helps you maneuver the college match a little bit easier?
Yeah, so college prep, you apply as a rising junior. The main thing is that you get an invitation to the National College Admissions Conference. I really liked my experience attending the conference because, I mean, not only was I able to like meet all of these different students who are also going to be going through that match process with me, I was able to learn more about like QuestBridge in general, the process for the National College Match. They had various workshops about crafting your personal statement, as well as more details about the financial aspects of the application. I also like the college fair that they had at the admissions conference, where it was basically like 40 tables with representatives from each of the college partners. And I basically just talked to the college representatives because often they would be part of the admissions people who would be looking through my application as well. So it was really just nice talking to them, and also give a little bit of insider's perspective that added to whatever you can learn from each college's website. So the college admissions conference is, I would say, the major perk of the college prep scholars program. Another major perk is the fact that your application for the college prep scholars automatically gets transferred to the national college match application. And so all of the sections of like your name and your details and financial details, it's already filled out for you because you filled it out for the college prep program. In addition to that, QuestBridge looks over your personal statement from college prep scholars, and they themselves give you feedback on what you can make for your national college match application, which is like huge, getting feedback from the people who are going to decide whether you're a QuestBridge finalist or not. That's another huge perk. What else? There are opportunities to apply to different awards. I mentioned the Quest for Excellence Awards. That's just a page on the National College Prep application. And it's like, check if you want to apply to the Quest for Excellence for STEM award or the Humanities Award. And then it's like a short essay question on why you think you should get the award. But that's just, additional stuff that you can apply to. It's useful in terms they give you like money to buy a laptop, which is really nice. They might also give you money to attend various summer programs, which is also nice. But they're just, additional incentives, in addition to the main incentive, which is just feedback and conference invitation.
Okay, just one more question. So I guess the last question is, what is your advice? I know you guys are all rising seniors, so that's exciting. One more year left. What advice would you have for students, whether it be on the QuestBridge side and the application or college in general?
I think for the application specifically, I think my main advice would be to be true to yourself and really um, don't don't think about anyone else, right? Like don't think about who's going to be competing with you for a spot to get into the college. Really just highlight yourself and all of your hard work last 4 years and really make yourself shine and stand out, and think about any standards that people, might put for a certain college, because I feel like as high school seniors you go through to, like, I don't know what that site was, the super toxic,
I don't
I don't know,
remember.
I don't remember the specific name, but if there's like a popular like website where people post their stats and everything and are like, am I gonna get into blah university, don't go to that website. Don't get tempted, and don't, psych yourself out if you see that, the university that you want to go to, everyone's making a perfect score on the SAT or ACT. And like honestly, like again, what we said about the holistic admission, it really is holistic and it really works to show who you are as a person in addition to all the numbers. But really, be true to yourself. That's what I would say for the admissions process. For the going through college, I would say don't be afraid to ask for help. I like my first 2-ish years, I had a really rough academically as well, because in high school everything was really easy. Like even if I was in my most advanced AP classes, even that was relatively easy. And I thought that the same thing would apply for when I'm going through college, and it's really not. And I'm sure it varies college by college, but with Rice specifically, I didn't ask for help until like halfway through my sophomore year. And I would say like that was the biggest mistake that I've done. But like because I, stepped out of my comfort zone and I, asked for help, that made the rest of my academic, journey at Rice a whole lot better. So like asking for help and learning from your mistakes is really important, I think. Because college, yes, the academics are important, but it's also, I think, a time as a person. And I think, learning those lessons is really important for your growth as a person.
Yeah, I was gonna say the exact same thing for being a college student. So as like first generation and low income students, we're used to not having resources that are like available to us. So we grow to be more independent people. But since we grow to be so independent as like high schoolers and all, when we get to college, we're afraid to ask for help almost. So it takes a while to get used to that. And especially at Rice, there's a lot of like every student you turn to in your class is like, oh yes, I was the valedictorian. But where I went to high school, it was a low income area, so it wasn't as competitive. It was almost easy, as Andrea put it. But at Rice, everything was super competitive, and if you didn't ask for help, it like it was very difficult for me to get through the first 2 years as well.
All righty. Well, those are all the questions that I have. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day, your Friday in particular, to kind of speak to our students and tell them how great of an opportunity that QuestBridge is. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Also, if any of your students have questions, you have our email addresses, and so feel free to share them with your students in case they have any questions. And we can, say, but we're more than open to, helping students through email as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'd love to help if you guys have any questions or any further comments. So yeah, thank you for having us.